Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Mateo Chavez-Lewis. I'm a professional musical theater composer and music director, splitting my time right now between here in Toronto and New York City. If you've been following the channel for a while, you will know that I recently had the world premiere production of a musical I wrote. It's called Tommy Rhodes. There are a bunch of videos on the channel where I talk about the music from Tommy Rhodes. Now, I have kind of found my place, I've kind of found myself in a place of what comes next. Obviously, we're still working on Tommy Rhodes and trying to get it produced in a bigger venue. That would be awesome. We're working on a cast album, so stay tuned for details about that. I'm working on an album of pop songs, kind of in the background as well, which the people over at Patreon have already gotten a preview of. But I'm wondering what my next musical is going to be. There are a few projects that I'm flirting with right now, and I haven't fully 100% committed to any of them. There's one musical that I'm working on with a friend of mine about the destruction of Penn Station that feels really, really promising and I'm really, really excited about, so I might go down that route. There's also this musical called, working title, ZEDD SPEAKS. So Zed is Z-E-D-D, and that is the name of the main character. And it's kind of like a TikTok, EDM, pop music concept album slash musical slash pop concert that uses the music of Gen Z to tell a fundamentally Gen Z story. And I'll tell you what that story is in a moment. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the logic session for a demo of one of the songs from the show, the only song from the show that I have written so far. And we can talk about, well, I'm going to talk. You can't reply because you are there and this is happening in the past for you. But you can respond in the comment section and we can talk about whether or not this idea has merit. There's something about it that's very, very interesting to me, but also it feels a little bit nebulous right now to me, a little bit unclear. So let's look at the song that I wrote and yeah, let's have a little creative discussion, shall we? So let me tell you the storyline, basically. So Zed is a non-binary student in their first year of college. And Frosh Week has been no fun for them. They are having a really hard time making friends. They're feeling very, very isolated. And crucially, they're feeling like nobody listens to them when they speak. Then, on their first day of classes, their professor repeatedly misgenders them in front of the whole class. And Zed is so furious and is so fed up with not being heard that they go home and they film a video to post online where they basically call out their professor and call for him to be fired. This kind of goes viral, this video that Zed films in their dorm room. And soon, kind of, they get everything they wanted. You know, they get the professor fired and the offers start flooding in for brand sponsorships and exclusive event invitations and talk show invitations. And they gain thousands of subscribers and they keep posting these videos about their hot takes online. And they begin to really enjoy the feeling of having their voice heard on the internet. However, as you can imagine, they start getting cocky and they start going a little bit too far. And eventually they post a video that starts getting the wrong kind of attention. They have a hot take that goes a little bit too far. And just as quickly as they rose to fame, they become the center of kind of an angry internet mob. And they begin to be the target of a lot of vitriol and a lot of hate online. And so they discover that as easy as it is to share your voice online, it is also equally easy to have your voice attacked as well. And it kind of asks the question, the story overall, in a perfect world, it kind of asks the question, in a world where we all have a voice online, what is our responsibility? How do we use that voice responsibly? Do you know what I mean? This is a question that we all kind of have to grapple with right now. And hopefully ZEDD Speaks will give young people a language to talk about this, using music that they find familiar and fun. So that is why the whole show is ideally going to be written instead of just on piano, which I usually just write piano and vocal, and then sometimes I get orchestrators to orchestrate it, but I'm going to, ideally, if I end up committing to writing this full show, I'm going to write it entirely on Logic. So I'm going to use entirely, like, sound samples like this. So this song is called Wake You Up. It's a demo I recorded of the song, and it's kind of the I Want song for Zedd. It comes right after the scene with the professor, and basically throughout the course of this song, they make the decision to post the video where they tear down their professor. Yeah, it's very much a like pop song. It's very synthy, and it starts like this. Already you can tell, like, not a traditional musical theater song at all, right? Well, kind of. It's produced in a way that is not traditional musical theater in any way, but we get this, like, very kind of musical theater piano part, with this open fifth chord in the right hand and then just a changing bass note. So that is very familiar to musical theater lovers. It's just put into this like autumn haze sound effect on Logic. Also, the other thing is, like, this only has 24 tracks, you know. I'm only using like the stock instrument sounds that Logic offers to me, so it's not like the final product for sure. But I'm using this autumn haze sound effect that was available on Logic, and it sounds more like an electronically produced piece of music than it does a traditional musical theater song, even though the notes themselves are kind of built in the classic way that I Want songs in musical theater are built. We also have this kick drum where the EQ on it, like, you can see, hopefully. Where'd it go? Your eyes look open, but they don't make contact. They just look right. Like, I'm taking out all of the high resonance in the kick drum, so it just feels really low. It feels like you're kind of underwater, and it feels like a heartbeat. And if you want to listen to the full song, also, people over at Patreon will get a link to the full demo, so you can listen to it. You ask the questions that you never would ask if you really knew me. If you really knew me. And though I try to open up, I try to connect, I'm just a specter. It's like I'm not even here. I try to open up, but you're just assuming I'm not human, or else you just can't hear. I'm proud of that section. I'm really proud of that section. Here we've got, in the snare here, we've got this like snare that's like reversed. So what I did was I took this snare effect and I added a bunch of reverb to it, and I bounced it to an audio file. So I just had an audio file of just the snare drum hit with the reverb sound effect. And then I reversed it so it sounded like, instead of pshh, it got reversed like shh. And that is this sound here. And I think that sounds so cool. It feels kind of, first of all, it feels fundamentally electronic. It feels fundamentally digital. It does not feel like any acoustic instrument can make that sound. And that makes the whole thing feel very modern, very current. But also, it like emotionally feels kind of discombobulating and disorientating. Disorienting. I try to connect. I'm just a speck. And it leads you into the snare hit really satisfyingly. If I take it out, try to open up. I try to connect. I'm just a specter. The snare kind of comes out of nowhere. But if I put it back in, try to open up. I try to connect. I'm just a specter. It builds the tension into the release that is the snare hit. And I always talk about tension and release in music. In, you know, piano music, we use like harmony that's tense that then releases to to create that tension and release, but in digitally produced music, we can use these sound effects.
Try to open up, I try to connect, I'm just a specter, it's like I'm not even here. I try to open up, but you're just assuming I'm not human, or else you just can't hear. But if I shout loud enough, will you hear me? Will I wake you up? And if I stand right in front of you, will you see me? Will I wake you up? I know it's silence you're seeking.
So here, this was kind of a happy accident where I looped this snare sound effect, but I looped it slightly shorter than the correct length of the bar. So the snare reverse comes slightly earlier. See here, it's lined up with the beat. Here, it's slightly before the beat. So it comes slightly earlier every single time. And when I listened back to it, that was a mistake. Let me be very clear, but it was a happy mistake, like penicillin. And it sounds really cool because what that does is that every single bar, it adds more tension. The tension lasts for longer before that snare hit on beat 4 of the bar. Here, for example. So here there's one beat in between the and the, but then here there's a little bit more than a beat, and here there's even more than that, and here there's like 2 full beats. So it keeps building up how long that tension is held for, which just keeps building the tension throughout the song. I think that is very cool, so I left it in.
Will you see me? Will I wake you up? I know it's silence you're seeking, but if you sleep, I'ma keep on speaking, so wake up.
The other thing is that a lot of these sections of the song are in 6-bar phrases. Most songs will use 8-bar or 4-bar phrases, some division of 4, but I really like the 6-bar phrases here because the 5th and 6th bar of each phrase, like for example here, this pre-chorus is, oh no, the pre-chorus is 8 bars, but the chorus is, well, it's 12 bars. So there's a lot of 12 bars. And what that does, here, like the verse is 6 bars and then a 6-bar phrase, so 2 6-bar phrases. That's more what I was talking about. But what I like about that is that you have a 4-bar phrase, which is kind of standard, and then Zedd feels the need to repeat themselves because they're not being heard.
Look right through me. You just look straight through me.
Right? So they can't just say, you look straight through me. They say, you look straight through me, and that's the end of the 4-bar phrase, but then they have to say it again, so we add those extra 2 bars. So it just adds to that feeling of like, why is nobody listening to me? Why is nobody hearing me? Why do I have to repeat myself? Why does nobody respect me enough to listen to me the first time?
Your eyes are open, at least that's what you say, but you quickly close them.
That's the 4-bar phrase. We're done. We could go right into the next phrase, but instead we get,
yeah, you love to close them.
this repeat.
Well, there are people who aren't going away till someone really knows them, and no one really knows them.
Here we build up the percussion. We're building into the big chorus.
Using your power to stay in power and thinking that you're so smart. You think you're so smart, but it's hard to learn when you think you know, and it's hard to see when your eyes are closed. So if I shout,
there, I like that. This builds us into the chorus really effectively, I think, because I just used the volume slider to like crescendo the strings. So if I just play the strings on their own, do you hear that? They go, they like come rushing at you, and they propel us into the chorus section, which is when kind of the beat drops for the first time in the song. You know, we're a minute and 54 seconds into the song, but it's the first time that Zedd actually allows themselves to be loud. Up until this point, they've been saying, if I shout loud enough, will you hear me? But now they're saying like, I am now shouting. I am getting loud. We are crescendoing to a forte, and we're going to get even louder in a little bit.
shout loud enough, will you hear me? Will I wake you up? And if I stand right in front of you, will you see me? Will I wake you up? What do you want me to do? How can I get through?
So here, are you ready for a key change? Because we are about to jump up a tone out of nowhere for this next chorus. In a traditional pop song, we would get verse, chorus, bridge. We would get a bridge to provide contrast here, and then a chorus. In songs that are written specifically for TikTok, we often don't get a bridge because the songs are intended to be kept very short. So often they're just verse, chorus, and then they're done. And they usually last about 2 minutes. So here we're already kind of at the end of the TikTok pop song form. Obviously, we're not at the end of the character's journey, though. So I wanted to add this chorus. We jump up a tone. It's a key change, which means it's a big change in the character's emotional state. It's a big change in the story, always, in musical theater when we have a key change like this. And so for this song specifically, it's the moment where Zedd makes the decision to shout loud enough, to use their voice very, very loudly on the place where voices are amplified the most in the entire world, which is the internet. Is it ironic that I'm talking about this on a video on the internet? Yes.
Wake you up, what do you want?
And again, I have the reverse sound effects to build us into, and the crescendo in the strings, to build us into this jump. If I took out like this sound effect, and this sound effect, and these, and I just had this.
How can I get through to you if I shout?
Like, the key change doesn't hit as hard. I also have kind of a drum fill as well. That helps a lot. And a crescendo in the piano. But with these kind of ear candy elements, and this is the power of digitally produced music, I'm not even very good as an audio producer. Like, I just started kind of learning how to do this like a year ago. So I'm not very experienced at this. But it makes it very easy to create these really, really cool effects.
See me, will I wake you up? What do you want me to do? How can I get through to you if I shout loud enough? Will you hear me? Will I wake you up? And if I say...
So the other thing is now there's an opportunity for the actor playing Zedd to show off. I kind of want to write it so that it works in 2 different keys so that a non-binary actor who is either a mab or a fab could play Zedd. Obviously this is in the tenor key because I'm a tenor. But I have it written so that Zedd is using their voice, or makes the decision to use their voice, their metaphorical voice, but also they now get to really use their literal voice as a singer. So I'm using the power of musical theater to tell the story. Yeah, like the fact that I have these tools available for me at my disposal in this medium, I'm not taking that for granted. You know, I'm using the vocals to tell the story of how Zedd learns to use their voice. So that's why you're getting more riffs and you're getting higher notes. Hear me! Things like that. And then you're going to get some high notes at the end as well, because Zedd is shouting loud, so they are going to sing big loud notes in a fortissimo. Later on in the story, as Zedd learns that they need to use their voice in a way that is responsible and nuanced and not just loud, their vocals in the actual physical musical score of the show will also, the intention is, become a little bit more fluid and nuanced and soft, and probably in a lower register for them, so that they aren't just screaming at the top of their lungs, but they are expressing something with a little bit more nuance.
If I shout loud enough,
but for an I Want number, like, come on, like, we love a big key change like this.
Will you hear me? Will I wake you up? And if I stand right in front of you, will you see me? Will I wake you up? 'Cause with this silence I'm keeping, you're free to just keep on sleeping. So I'll shout till you wake up.
Now, remember how we didn't have a bridge section, so we don't have any contrast? That's standard for this kind of TikTok pop genre. But in musical theater, you know, we really want the audience to stay engaged, and we really want to show the character's full emotional journey, which often involves a lot of contrast and nuance. So to provide contrast here, where I don't have a bridge, I instead put the contrast in this kind of finale section where we go really quiet all of a sudden. And Zed almost starts whispering "wake up," and then they start yelling "wake up," and then they go right into filming the video at the end of the song.
Wake up. Wake up.
So it's this quiet moment of realization, okay, I'm actually going to do this. And then, as they gain confidence, the music crescendos.
Wake up.
We get a big reverse sound effect to build the tension from this sweep sound effect here. And then we have
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
So a big tension and release moment, right? We're building tension. Oh my God, I'm actually going to do this. Okay, here I go. Boom. Make the decision. Do it. I'm building the tension obviously with the sound effects that I was talking about, but also here I'm building it with classic old harmony, because listen to this. The last note they sing,
Wake up.
the bass is playing a G sharp, and we're in A major. So that G sharp is like the leading tone, which really wants to move to the A. And Zed is singing, "Wake up." So it's a tritone. It's the devil's interval. It's like the most dissonant interval in music, according to some people. And then we resolve to that major chord.
Wake up. Wake up.
You can also physically see the bass go up, 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 and the bass is building tension as well, but also like it's wake up, and the bass is moving up, which is just, and the strings too, just constantly building upwards, 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 giving Zed, it's building that energy for Zed, because Zed is about to scream their frickin' face off in a second.
Up. Wake up.
Here it goes.
Wake up. Wake up.
And that's it. That is the first draft of Wake You Up from ZEDD Speaks. I hope you found this cool. Let me know if you are interested in seeing me write the rest of this show. Let me know what else you want to see from me in the future. And subscribe and follow my Patreon and all that fun stuff. I'll be back to my regularly scheduled content on Tuesday. I have a reaction video to Jordan Fisher's Epic 3 from Hadestown coming out. I am obsessed with Jordan Fisher. I know a lot of you are too. So I'm very, very excited to share that video with you all. YouTube copyright, for the reaction videos notwithstanding. Yes, subscribe, join the Patreon, and I will see you next week. Thank you all so much for being here. Peace out, y'all.